A bright summer afternoon in a suburban neighborhood. Lush green lawns, kids riding bikes, and a gentle breeze rustling the trees. EXT, Suburban Street, Lemonade Stand Day. A small folding table sits at the edge of the sidewalk, covered with a bright yellow cloth. A sign reads, "Ice-cold lemonade, $1" in colorful, uneven letters. Behind it stands 11-year-old Jaden Carter, black, wearing a baseball cap, his face full of youthful enthusiasm. He carefully pours lemonade into a plastic cup and hands it to a customer with a bright smile. Jaden, cheerfully, "Thank you, sir. Hope you stay cool today." Customer, handing over $1, smiling back. "You bet, kid. Keep up the good work." Jaden wipes sweat from his forehead, looking proud. Nearby, his mother, Monica Carter, mid-30s, stylish but practical, sits on a porch, watching him with pride. Monica, calling out, "How's business, champ?" Jaden, "Pretty good. I already made $15." Monica chuckles, shaking her head. Meanwhile, across the street, a woman watches with pursed lips. This is Karen Miller, late 40s, blonde, dressed in a crisp blouse and capri pants. Her expression is tense as she stares at Jaden's lemonade stand. She grips her phone tightly, her thumb hovering over the screen. She mutters under her breath, shaking her head in disapproval. "Karen, this isn't a carnival. This is a residential neighborhood." She glances around, as if expecting someone else to be just as outraged. But no one else seems to mind. Her annoyance grows. Finally, she exhales sharply and dials 911. A 911 operator, Lisa Graham, calm and professional, answers the call. 911 operator, Lisa. 911, what's your emergency? Karen, voice tight, frustrated. "Yes, hello. I'd like to report some unauthorized business activity in my neighborhood." 911 operator, Lisa. "Can you clarify, ma'am?" Karen, "There's a boy selling lemonade on the sidewalk. He doesn't have a permit." A brief silence. Lisa blinks, processing the absurdity of the call. 911 operator, Lisa. "Ma'am, you're calling about a child's lemonade stand?" Karen, "Yes. It's disruptive. I don't know if he even washed his hands. And we have rules here. It's not safe." Lisa exhales, glancing at her colleague, shaking her head slightly. 911 operator, Lisa. "All right, ma'am. We'll send an officer to check it out." Karen, satisfied, nodding. "Good. Thank you." Karen hangs up and crosses her arms, glancing smugly at Jaden. Across the street, Monica notices Karen staring. She follows her gaze to Jaden and frowns, sensing something is off. Monica, to herself, "Oh no." Unaware of the storm about to unfold, Jaden happily serves another customer. The sound of distant sirens fades in, growing closer. Jaden hums to himself, happily arranging his cups, unaware of what's coming. Monica watches him closely now, her motherly instincts kicking in. The sound of a police siren grows louder, and she stiffens. A black and white patrol car turns the corner and pulls up near the lemonade stand. The engine rumbles as it idles. From inside, a figure adjusts his sunglasses before stepping out. This is Officer Michael Anderson, late 30s, fit, calm demeanor, an air of quiet authority about him. He surveys the scene before shutting the door behind him. Jaden's face lights up when he sees the officer, assuming he might be stopping by for a drink. Jaden, grinning. "Hey, officer, you want some lemonade?" Karen, standing a few feet away on her porch, folds her arms, looking smug. She watches eagerly, waiting for action to be taken. Monica stands up from her chair, already on high alert. Karen, calling out, approaching the officer. "Oh good, you're here. This has been going on all afternoon. It's against the rules, isn't it?" Officer Anderson tilts his head slightly, taking in the situation. He glances at Karen, then at Jaden, then at Monica, who has now walked closer, placing a protective hand on her son's shoulder. Officer Anderson, calmly. "Ma'am, you called 911 over a lemonade stand?" Karen, huffing. "Yes. It's not a licensed business. He's selling food without a permit. That's illegal." Jaden's smile fades as he looks up at his mother. Monica's expression is carefully controlled, but her jaw is tight. Monica, measured tone. "Officer, my son is just trying to make a little extra money during summer break. It's lemonade, not a five-star restaurant." Officer Anderson studies them for a moment. Jaden's small stand, the innocent sign, the plastic cups, and then Karen, standing with her arms crossed like she's reporting a serious crime. Officer Anderson. To Karen, raising an eyebrow. Is he bothering anyone? Blocking traffic? Causing a disturbance? Karen. Frustrated, throwing up her hands. It's about the principle. If we let things like this slide, where do we draw the line? What if just anyone sets up a business on the street? There are laws for a reason. Officer Anderson exhales slowly, rubbing his chin. The tension is thick. A few neighbors have started peeking out of their windows or watching from their porches, sensing something is happening. Jaden. Quietly, to his mom. Did I do something wrong? Monica. Kneeling beside him, squeezing his hand. No, baby. You didn't. Officer Anderson shifts his weight, looking between the mother and son. Then he looks back at Karen, something unreadable in his eyes. He adjusts his belt, letting out a slow breath before making a decision. Officer Anderson. Nodding. All right. Let's handle this. Karen smirks, thinking she's won. Monica watches warily. Jaden holds his breath. Officer Anderson steps forward and then does something that no one expects. A moment of silence hangs in the air. Karen waits expectantly, sure that Officer Anderson is about to shut down the lemonade stand. Jaden clutches his lemonade pitcher nervously. Monica stands firm, her eyes locked on the officer, ready to defend her son. But then, Officer Anderson does something unexpected. He kneels down to Jaden's level, his expression softening. Officer Anderson. Smiling slightly. So, kid, tell me, what made you want to start a lemonade stand? Jaden hesitates, glancing at his mother, then back at the officer. Jaden. I wanted to make some extra money to help my mom out. She works a lot, and I also want to save up for a new bike. Officer Anderson nods thoughtfully, glancing at the small stand, the handwritten sign, the carefully stacked cups. He looks at the nervous boy, then at Monica, who is watching with wary eyes. Finally, he turns his gaze to Karen, whose smirk is beginning to fade. Officer Anderson. Standing up, adjusting his belt. Ma'am, I have a question for you. Karen. Impatiently. What? Officer Anderson. Did you ever have a lemonade stand as a kid? Karen blinks, caught off guard. Karen. What does that have to do with anything? Officer Anderson. Just curious. Did you? Karen. Crossing her arms, muttering. Maybe once or twice. Officer Anderson. And did you have a permit? Silence. Karen shifts uncomfortably. The neighbors watching from their porches murmur amongst themselves. Karen. Defensive. That was different. Officer Anderson. Raising an eyebrow. How so? Karen opens her mouth, but no words come out. Monica lets out a small scoff, shaking her head. Officer Anderson takes a step closer to Karen, lowering his voice just enough so that the crowd can still hear. Officer Anderson. Let me be clear, ma'am. There is no city ordinance prohibiting a child from running a small lemonade stand in their neighborhood. He's not violating any laws. There's no health code being broken. This is a kid selling lemonade on a summer day. Karen's face turns red. She stammers, but Officer Anderson doesn't let up. Officer Anderson. Now, if there was a real complaint, like noise, traffic issues, or safety concerns, I'd handle it accordingly. But this isn't a crime. Jaden's eyes widen. Monica lets out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. Karen, however, is not satisfied. Karen. Flustered, grasping for control. So what? You're just going to let him get away with it? Rules are rules. Officer Anderson. Calm but firm. Sometimes, ma'am, common sense has to come before bureaucracy. Karen scoffs, looking around as if searching for support. But the neighbors watching are nodding in agreement with the officer. She realizes she's alone in this. Seeing Karen struggle, Officer Anderson takes it a step further. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out his wallet, and takes out a $5 bill. Officer Anderson. Smirking, turning to Jaden. You take cards, kid? Jaden grins, shaking his head. Jaden. Cash only, sir. Officer Anderson. Handing him the bill. Then I'll take a large lemonade. Keep the change. Jaden's face lights up as he quickly pours the officer a lemonade. Monica watches, a mixture of pride and relief in her eyes. The neighbors begin to chuckle and nod approvingly. Even a few kids riding by on their bikes stop to watch the scene unfold. Karen, seeing the tide turn against her, huffs in frustration and turns on her heel, storming back toward her house. Karen, grumbling, under her breath. Unbelievable. The crowd watches as she disappears inside, slamming the door. There's a brief pause, and then the mood shifts. People start clapping. A few other neighbors walk over, pulling out their own wallets. Neighbor number 1. I'll take a cup, too. Neighbor number 2. Make mine extra cold. Jaden beams as a small line forms. Officer Anderson takes a sip of his lemonade, nodding approvingly. Officer Anderson. Not bad, kid. Not bad at all. Monica watches her son serve customers, her heart swelling with pride. She looks at Officer Anderson, giving him a grateful nod. He tips his hat slightly in return before stepping back toward his patrol car. As he gets inside, he watches in the rearview mirror as Jaden's lemonade stand flourishes, now with the entire neighborhood rallying around him. With a satisfied smile, he puts the car in drive and pulls away. The lemonade stand is buzzing with activity. Neighbors, parents, and kids from the block have all gathered, lining up to support Jaden. The once empty street corner is now filled with laughter, chatter, and the sound of coins clinking into Jaden's money jar. Monica stands back, watching in awe as her son interacts with customers, his confidence growing with each sale. A few of the neighborhood kids have even joined in, helping Jaden pour drinks and take money. The mood is completely different from earlier. There's a sense of community, of unity. Across the street, Karen peeks through her blinds, her face a mixture of disbelief and frustration. She mutters under her breath before turning away, defeated. EXT, Suburban Street, later that evening. The sun is setting, casting a golden glow over the neighborhood. Jaden counts his earnings excitedly while Monica helps pack up the stand. A few remaining neighbors linger, chatting happily about the day's events. Jaden, grinning, holding up a wad of bills. Mom, I made more than $50 today. Monica, laughing, ruffling his hair. That's amazing, baby. See what happens when people come together? Jaden nods enthusiastically, already brimming with ideas for the next day. Jaden, I think I'll get some fresh lemons tomorrow. Maybe add a new flavor. Officer Anderson's patrol car pulls up again, and he steps out, holding something in his hand. Officer Anderson. Evening, folks. How's business? Jaden. Awesome. Best day ever. The officer chuckles, then holds out a small piece of paper. Monica takes it, scanning it with a confused look. Monica, what's this? Officer Anderson. A one-day vending permit. Courtesy of the city. Monica's eyes widen as she looks up at him. Monica, you didn't have to do that. Officer Anderson. I know, but I figured if anyone asks tomorrow, now you have something official to show them. Just to keep things smooth. Jaden's face lights up. Jaden, so this means I can keep selling? Officer Anderson. You sure can. Just keep up the good work, all right? Jaden nods excitedly, and Monica's eyes glisten with gratitude. She reaches out and shakes Officer Anderson's hand. Monica, thank you for everything. Officer Anderson, just doing my job. He winks at Jaden before heading back to his car. As he drives off, Monica looks at her son, who is still beaming. Jaden, this was the best day ever. Monica smiles, pulling him into a hug as the last bit of sunlight fades from the sky. EXT, Suburban Street, Lemonade Stand. A week later. Jaden's lemonade stand is now bigger and better. A new sign, freshly painted, reads, Jaden's famous lemonade, best in town. The stand has been upgraded with a proper table, a bigger pitcher, and even a tip jar labeled Future Entrepreneur Fund. Monica watches proudly as Jaden serves customers, his confidence soaring. The community has fully embraced the stand. Neighbors stop by regularly, some even bringing extra supplies, cups, sugar, fresh lemons. Kids from the neighborhood take turns helping out, making it a small summer tradition. Officer Anderson pulls up once again, stepping out with a grin. Officer Anderson. Looks like business is booming. Jaden. Grinning. It's been awesome. And look. Jaden holds up a small notebook where he's been tracking his sales. Officer Anderson nods, impressed. Officer Anderson. Smart move. Keeping track of profits, like a real businessman. Monica smiles, shaking her head in amazement. Monica. He's even been talking about expanding, maybe setting up at the community fair next month. Officer Anderson. Now that's what I like to hear. Jaden beams. Just then, another familiar face approaches. The very same neighbor who had previously called 911. Karen. She walks up hesitantly, a bit awkward, holding something behind her back. The crowd quiets slightly as she clears her throat. Karen. Jaden. Jaden and Monica exchange a glance. Karen shifts uncomfortably before revealing what she's holding. a glass pitcher filled with fresh lemonade. Karen, I made this for you. Thought maybe you could sell it. Or, just drink it. A moment of silence. The tension from the past incident lingers in the air. But then Jaden smiles. He looks up at his mom, who gives him a small nod. Jaden, thanks, Miss Peterson. Karen exhales, relieved, and nods. Karen, it's good to see everyone coming together like this. Maybe I was a little too quick to judge. Officer Anderson crosses his arms, giving her a knowing look, but says nothing. Karen lingers for another second before turning to leave. The neighbors watch as she walks away, some nodding approvingly. Jaden turns to his mom, shrugging. Jaden, guess people can change. Monica, maybe they can. Jaden pours a cup of lemonade from Karen's pitcher and raises it. Jaden, to the best lemonade stand in town. The neighbors cheer, raising their cups in agreement. Laughter fills the air as Jaden continues serving customers. The once small lemonade stand now a symbol of community and resilience. The lemonade stand is packed up for the night. Monica and Jaden sit on their porch, looking up at the stars. Monica, proud of you, kid. Jaden, proud of us. She smiles, pulling him close. Jaden, think we can do it again tomorrow? Monica, I think we can do anything. Jaden grins as they sit in silence, the street quiet and peaceful once again. The camera lingers on the Jaden's famous lemonade sign, the symbol of a small battle won, and the power of standing up for what's right.